I can't believe I have to say this, but it is not an appeal to authority, which is a logical fallacy, for me to say, I believe scientists when they tell me about climate change. I believe doctors when they tell me about trans people in general, gender affirming care, vaccines. It's only a logical fallacy to appeal to authority when that authority is, number one, coming from someone who's not an expert, like saying, oh, I saw this thing from a social media influencer and I believe them. When it's citing someone who is an expert but does not represent the scientific consensus. Or when you cite the authority over the evidence. The thing about scientific and medical and historical consensus is that they are all obtained using evidence. They are all obtained using the scientific method to rigorously weed out bias. Like when it comes to climate change, you could find an expert who is still skeptical about human-caused and exacerbated climate change. But appealing to that person's authority would be a fallacy because that person does not represent the consensus of experts, which overwhelmingly says that climate change is human-caused and human-exacerbated and is going to kill billions of people if we don't do something to slow or stop it. We have decades of psychological, psychiatric, medical data that tells us that providing accessible gender-affirming care lowers bad mental health outcomes like depression and anxiety and stress and suicide. We have decades of understanding that gender is a social construct separate than sex. Though often and usually related, it does not have to be, and that does not make it any less valid. We have decades of vaccine data that tells us that they are safe and effective at keeping you from fucking dying, and that they don't cause autism. In fact, the original studies that said they did have been disproven and debunked by scientists many times over. Be skeptical, absolutely. Challenge it, absolutely. But to say that in the past science has been wrong about things, or to say that, well, science can be bought sometimes, therefore I never have to believe any of it, that's a logical fallacy. That's where you're taking a small, tiny outlier case and applying it to everything because you don't like what it's telling you. That'd be like me walking outside and getting struck by lightning and then saying, well, I guess I can't go outside anymore. And these are people specifically trained to differentiate between correlation and causation. So when they perform research and they say we found a correlation, like between Tylenol and autism, or vaccines and autism, or SSRIs and violent crime rates, and they say we could not demonstrate causation, that means the most qualified people who could tell us that there is causation were not able to find it. And so you should not believe that one of those things causes the other.